Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video tutorial, I will explain how to create and consume the REST API REST framework in Django Python web tutorials. And here we got the final output. See, the employee ID, employee name from the database. First, we have created the API displaying all the data ID, EMP name from this database. After that, we call this API to display on the HTML table using REST framework in Django. If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates. Before creating a new Django web application, first we'll check the table in database phpMyAdmin database, which is MySQL server. The table name is emp app underscore employee table, which contains two columns, ID and emp name. Now my aim is, first I will create a new API, then I will call that API to display this data on the browser. So let's create a new Django web application. Before creating a new Django web application, first we require one new folder. So I'm creating a new folder in local disk E drive. Right click the mouse, click new and select folder. The folder name is REST Framework Create and Consume. Enter. Let's browse this folder. Right now this folder is empty. We'll create a new Django web application in this folder. I'm using Visual Studio Code to create a Django web application, but before creating the application, first we have to add the folder name which we have created in the E drive. Go to File, then click Open Folder. In this open folder, our folder name is REST Framework Create Consume. I have selected that one, then select folder. And here our folder is added successfully to our Visual Studio Explorer panel. At the right side, we got the welcome page. Now in this folder, right now this folder is empty. We'll create a new Django web application in this folder. For that, go to View and select Terminal. And here we got our terminal, which is nothing but a PowerShell or command prompt. If you notice in this path, the REST Framework Create Consume, which is the folder name I have created in the E drive. Now let's create a new Django web application. Django-admin start project. The project name is Create Consume API. Enter. And notice here the Create Consume API, our application is created successfully. Let me expand this application. If you notice, the application contains one subfolder called Create Consume API, which is the same name of our application, and one manage.py. Let me expand this subfolder also. If you notice, in this subfolder contains some default Python files, settings.py, URLs. All these files and folders has been created automatically when I create this project, Create Consume API. So after creating this project, next step, we'll add views models.py first in this subfolder. I click the subfolder, click new file. The file name is models.py. Enter. This models.py contains a class and the properties. So before that, we'll add the models import class from django.db import. I'm importing the models. Then create a class. The class is emp model. The class name is then models.model column. This models class contains a properties. If you notice, our table contains two columns, ID and emp name. ID is the auto-generated column, so I'm not adding a property for that, but I'm adding the emp name, the property. So here emp name is equals to models dot char field, the data type is and max underscore length we need to add here 100. After that I am adding another class, contains a meta class, and this meta class contains a table. db underscore table is equals to, between single quotes, our table name is emp underscore employee tab. Here let's copy that one and paste here. That's it. Let's save this file. This models class contains a properties and the class name, the table name. Now let's add the serialization class. Right click the subfolder, new file, and the file name is a serialization.py. Now this serialization class contains the models and fields from this models class. So before that we need to import the serializers from REST Framework import serializers. After that we'll import the models also from the models page is inside the create our application name dot models import the model name. The class name from this models is emp model, so emp model. After that let's define the class serialization class. I'm adding serializers dot model serializer colon. I'm adding another class, meta class. This meta class contains the model. I'm adding the model, which is the class name of the model, emp model. Then this class contains the fields also. Between single quotes I'm adding underscore, double underscore, all, double underscore. That's it. Let's save this file. Save all. Friends, here is not colon, here is equals to. Let's save this file. Save all. Now the next step, I'll create a views.py in this subfolder. Right click the mouse, click new file. The file name is a views.py. Enter. Now this views page contains a actual logic to create an API, and we'll call the API. So before that we need to import the necessary classes here. First we'll import the serialization class. From the serialization class is inside our application name dot serialization import. The serialization class is serialization class. Then from we require the models also. Create consume API or application name dot models import the models place is emp model. After that let's create a function show emp request colon if request dot method double equals to get method I'm using, then we'll call the objects from this class emp model. So before that let's define the variable emp model dot objects dot all. So I'm calling all the objects from this class. Then we have to serialize. So serialize is equals to the serialization class name, serialization class. This class name I'm adding here contains the results comma many equals to true. After that this function return, we need to add the response also. So from REST framework underscore dot response import response class. R is capital here. Let's add this response here. Response. I'm adding the object of the serialized dot data. We don't require double equals to. In Django applications, we can implement two methods. One is the API underscore view, the function based, and the class based. Here I'm using the function basis. So we require the decoratives. REST framework dot decorators import API underscore view. Now let's decorate this function with API view here at API view. Within square brackets, within single quotes, I'm adding get method because we are calling the get. That's it. Let's save this file. Now the next step, we need to configure the URLs also. Open urls.py, import the class, import the views name from dot import views, and here in the URL patterns, let's add the path between single quotes, comma, views dot our function name, which is show emp. Copy that one and paste here. Let's add the name is equals to show emp. In the single quotes, show is my web page name. That's it. Let's save this file. Save all. After that, we need to configure the settings also. In the settings of py, the most important step here in this install underscore apps, let's install the applications here between single quotes. The application name is first. Our application name is create consume API. Copy that one and paste here. Then between single quotes, I am adding the REST underscore framework. F is not capital here, small. Framework. That's it. After that, come to the bottom. If you notice, the default database is the SQL active, but we are using MySQL database. So instead of SQLite 3, I'm adding MySQL, and the name, let's delete this default line. Here the name is our database name. Our database name is the Lion database. So let's add that one, Lion. Now let's add the next attribute between single quotes, which is the user colon. The username is the root, and we require the password also. Here the password is, I'm leaving blank because I don't have any password to log into my phpMyAdmin database. If you have any password, please enter between these single quotes. Next, we require the host also. Host is local host, comma, and we require the port also. Port number of my SQL database is 3308. Let's add that one, 3308 between single quotes, 3308. Sometimes the port number will change, you will get 3306 also. And we require the options, colon, curly brackets between single quotes, init underscore command, colon. Now between double quotes, I'm setting SQL underscore mode is equals to, between single quotes, I'm adding strict trans table mode, comma. That's it. We have configured the databases, and we have added our applications, the create consume API, the application name, and the REST underscore framework also. Let's save this file, save all. That's it. Now before call this API, first we'll check the output of the API. Let's add this create consume API or application name to this full path cd. After adding the application name to the path, now let's run the server python manage.py run server. To run the server, we need to add manage.py, this one here. Enter. Oops, here we got the variable SQL mode. It's not table, it's tables. Let's save this file. Save all. So after run the server, we don't have any issues. Below that, we got the web server link. Control plus mouse click to browse our application. So once I run this application, notice the page not found because we have the page name show. Let's copy this one. This is our page name of API. Enter. So here we got the output show API. It displaying all the records from this database employee tab. Now let's call this API to display on the HTML page on a table. So again switch back to the coding part. Views.py. Now in this views page, first let's import the classes. When we want to render the HTML pages, we require the render class. So before adding the coding part, first we'll add a new folder to our application and selecting the main application name, select new folder. The folder name is the templates. Now in this templates contains all my HTML pages. Right click the mouse, click new file. The file name is the index.html. Enter. And here we got our index.html page. Now after that, open views.py again. Let's import the class render from Django.db from shortcuts import render class. Let's create a new function to call the API def display data is a function name, request colon this function return render. I'm rendering a request comma between single quotes index.html. Now let's call the API, and this API here first response. First let's declare the variable call object here. Variable call API is variable is equals to, when we call the API we require the request. Let's import requesters. So add the requesters here. Requesters dot get method. In this get method between single quote I'm adding my API, this one, copy this one, paste here. Now this API is returning the JSON format. See here the JSON format. So let's declare the variable results. The variable is equals to call API dot JSON method. That's it. So now the final step in this render method, we need to call between curly brackets single quotes. This is a dictionary I'm adding here. The fields we are getting from this EMP model, copy that one and paste here. Colon results. Copy this one and paste here results. That's it. Let's save this file. Save all. Now in the index.html, let's add the doc type. Close the HTML. We'll add the header tag. In this header tag, I'm adding the title. The title is create and call REST framework in Django. I'm adding the body tag here after the header section. Then inside this body tag I'm adding center tag. inside this center tag, I'm adding the label headers here. How to create, instead of writing this everything, copy the title and paste here Django H4 Django REST Framework Tutorials, REST Framework Tutorials. I'm adding horizontal line after the headers. Next, let's define the table. In this table element, I'm adding the border property. This table contains a border 1. The table contains the table headers, employee ID. The next table header is the employee name. After the tr, I'm adding for loop to display all the records. So percentage for data is an object here, variable here, data is in variable here. We are getting the data from this class emp model. Copy that one and paste here. Let's close the for loop also, and for after that, let's add the td and table data between double curly brackets in this expression data dot. I'm adding the column names of the table ID. This ID name I'm adding here, ID, and the next td, again the expression between double curly brackets data dot. The column name is emp name. Copy that one and paste here. That's it. I have done the complete coding part. Let's save this file, save all, and forgot to add the URLs also. Let's add the URLs here. Path, single quotes. I'm not adding anything in between the single quotes, which means this path will be our default page for our web application, comma views dot our view name is the display data. Copy that one and paste here. Let's save this file. And the most important step in the settings.py, oops, here we got an error. We need to add the comma here. Save this file, save all. Now switch to the settings.py. When we want to render our templates in Django, in the settings.py, in the template section, the directories, we need to join with the base directory, our templates with the base directory, os.path.join method. I'm joining our template with the base directory, templates, our folder name templates. All our HTML pages is inside our templates folder. That's it. Let's save this file, save all. So after saving this application, the server showing no issues in our application. Below that, our web server link. Let's run this application. Ctrl plus mouse click. So here we got employee name. Here's something. We forgot to add TRs here. TR. Copy this TR. Let's save this file. We'll check the output. So here we got the output, and here we got the final output. See the employee ID, employee name from the database. First we have created the API displaying all the data ID, emp name from this database. After that, we call this API to display on the HTML table using REST framework in Django. That's it.